symbol means.
That we have sound, but
I see.
no video. So people may be hearing us, but not seeing us.
Remember, it's 60-second delay. Just start.
We start.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Well, I'll trust that you'll be able to see this. Welcome to our this week's. Oh, hello. So I'm here to talk about the new stuff that is going on River Horse for this week, and I'm not on my own this time. I actually am here with
Me.
Caesar.
Oh, I see.
You know, well, you want your real name or your
Well, I just sort of both. Hello, my name's Chris.
Chris?
I work at
Caesar.
River Horse.
See all those great comics you see on our stuff, all this fantastic illustration? That's the man.
Me.
So basically, oh, we have a feedback loop, okay. And so Chris, yes, works here as a graphic designer and illustrator. And when we were exploring ideas for Labyrinth a few months ago, he came up with a cool idea. But before we do that, let's go into the newsletter for this week, which again is pretty much all very labyrinthy, isn't it?
Bury the lead, as they say.
Yes. So basically, when you open the newsletter, you will see that the main point, the big thing, is that we are opening the pre-order for the Labyrinth adventure game, and there's a description of what you get in there, all the bonanza of stuff that is packed in that product, some illustrations and pictures of it, an example of some of the content that you will find in the book, and a funny comic featuring myself as Ludo, I believe, or trying to be Ludo, or Ludo cosplay, and then finally there is the usual regular features, which are obviously all the pre-orders, all the latest things that are in pre-order sequence, and that which now include the Labyrinth, the adventure game. So this episode is all about Labyrinth, the adventure game. Are you monitoring any questions and stuff yourself, or do we have to do it here? We are monitoring. Okay. Yep. We'll keep an eye on that.
Basically, tell me if you
Yep. We'll keep an eye on this here while we talk.
Try and have like a segment every 5 minutes where we say.
So Karen says it's RPG, and the book, new game. So she seems happy.
I think those are tears of joy,
Yes, Karen is.
at least.
Yep. Karen seems to be happy about the RPG of Labyrinth. So yes, so as we were exploring the what to do, the other products we could do with Labyrinth, one of the ideas, and I say one of the ideas, the one we're talking about today, was a role-play game, adventure game, storytelling game, basically a product that would effectively allow people to sit around the table and just use their imagination to play through Labyrinth.
It seemed like a good fit, given that the Labyrinth is a world created by, from the subconscious / imagination of the people who explore it.
It's
And RPGs, that's what an RPG is, isn't it?
a dreamscape, I think, is it?
Yeah.
Yes. And yes, so RPG is a great fit for Labyrinth. We all thought was a fantasy, mind trip, so absolutely right. And so I thought, well, okay, we'll make a book, a hardback. In my head, I started to picture the products. So it's a big hardback, lots of colorful pictures, and then
I managed to wrestle it off you, basically.
you had a different idea.
Yeah, I tend to I'm a huge fan of RPGs in general, but I tend to hyper focus on the ones that are just beautiful objects as well. And I kind of had this concept in my head that the Labyrinth RPG would feel like a magical item that you might find in the Labyrinth. Like I can imagine goblins within the Labyrinth playing the Labyrinth RPG. So I wanted to build a in-world object, and the most obvious link there is that the book that Sarah reads the poem from is kind of an in-universe fairy story about the Labyrinth. And so the idea was to basically make the Labyrinth RPG that book and contain everything that you need to explore the Labyrinth within it.
And when you say everything that you need to explore, and I went, well, clearly that's impossible. You mean, of course, everything but things like dice, because clearly they will not fit. How do you put dice in a book? So actually, we have done that in Tales of Equestria. We have put
That's
those.
true.
We have put those charts, didn't we?
Can if our assistant can go to close cam, Oh no. Right.
Plus count. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, Tales of Equestria contains a number matrix like this, which
So that's a D20, isn't it?
so yeah, you'd drop a finger. That's a 10. There you go. And that's pretty much, if you don't own dice, the way of generating a random number between 1 and 20. So I thought it was good, but it wasn't quite as magical as I would have liked.
Yes. Oh, we have a question.
Plus, goblins cheat.
Oh, there's a question. Does a Labyrinth RPG book means there's a chance for miniatures in the future? What do you mean the future? We already do have miniatures.
I feel like this is someone who didn't catch last week's stream where we showed off a whole bunch of close-ups of 3-ups of potentially exciting new miniatures.
Yes, we do have miniatures in the core box. If you want to bring it out, there's
There you go.
the main characters and Jareth in one of his costumes. We have goblins that can be certainly used in the RPG. We have Fieries. Fieries coming out soon that can be used in the RPG. So yes, those are already available. Of course, if the RPG proves to be a success, and then who knows what's to come for it? We'll see. Oh yeah. So unfortunately, you only caught the end of the last stream, so you couldn't see the rest. But yeah, you can watch it back. They're saved.
I think we've uploaded it somewhere. I've not a clue. Dave's in charge of that.
Well, we're pretty confident it's somewhere where it can be found. We'll make sure to actually put some links here. But yes, you can watch that.
I think it is always linked to in our newsletter. The last week's one of these, which is our Friday live streams, is in the newsletter, I think. And in fact, the clip just on the new images, just on the new potential new models, is definitely in there. I edited it today.
Yeah. Simon Cabot say hi. Hi, Simon. Yeah,
oh, hello.
Our regular fan, our most loyal fan. I can answer the things in the glass cabinet at the back, but not what they were. Yes, the things in the glass cabinet indeed feature are very closed up in that video. So if you find that video, well, you can have a look at them close in.
Maybe we could do a photo shoot for a future newsletter as well.
We can certainly do that. But let's go back to the question. So I said, well, clearly dice are impossible, so we'll have to mount them as a cover mount, or put them together with a thing, or have people buy them separately, right? Because I mean, cool Labyrinth themed dice would be cool, but
yeah.
And then you said,
I said, I got this idea. Admittedly, I got this idea from kids' books and those sort of secret adventure sort of books where they have there's something hidden in the book. So I pretty much came up with this idea where you just cut holes in the book, and then your dice hide away in there. Everything you need. Your character sheets will be A5 as well, so they'll tuck inside, and you'll be able to just close your book, put it on the shelf.
And imagine, of course, that will look exactly like the book that Sarah is holding.
Yeah. So this is a prototype that we have at the moment. Basically, we did a couple of things with trying to get the texture right. This one felt a bit plasticky to me, and I thought that doesn't feel very medieval fantasy. And the other thing is that the holes were in the wrong place, and the holes did present some interesting technical challenges, which I saw somebody mention on Twitter. The chances of them being in the chat now is very slim, but they listed a bunch of things that I had also listed myself when talking to the manufacturer, which is, if you can see, these corners on this one are cut square, which may seem like a minor difference to the corners on this one, which are slightly beveled, I think the word is. But the difference is actually massive, because this cut here is at risk of tearing, and this cut here isn't. Other things is that we've made sure that basically this is as far away from the edge as it needs to be structurally sound, so that whilst being cool over time through lots of play, hopefully your book will remain as good as new.
It's worth to saying that actually this is they still travel this, but we're still trying to find the exact best location for it. But the one thing that is very cool, and I don't know how you can see it on the camera, is this the right position? Yeah, is that you have this very weird book which has a pit there, which again reminded me of the oubliette. It's like things, disappear in the dark, and so suddenly decorating this and having little goblins popping out and doing stuff with it is something that we'll have very good fun with. And I mean, you started drawing goblins for this.
Yeah, I think I'm about maybe 35 goblins in, with the idea being that I wanted it to look like the book had actually been owned by goblins before you bought it. So there will be notes by goblins on how they played when they played the game.
And there's not just that. I mean, there's ribbons. We went for magical color ribbons. We went for
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to just talk about book manufacturing for the next hour,
too much detail.
Yeah. So other than the cloth cover, if I'm sure you all know intimately the cover of the Labyrinth book, there is a black printed and embossed frame, and also a gold leaf title that says the Labyrinth on the front. So yeah, we've spoken to manufacturers about that, and the embossing actually came as a result of me not wanting the gold leaf to rub off, which is something that I've experienced with, because I mentioned earlier that I just buy beautiful looking books, and so anything with a gold leaf cover I will pay through the nose for. That's a example that my beautiful assistant has just fetched me of this is the rule book from the board game, actually, which is the same concept, well, in terms of the layout of the cover. So by embossing the gold leaf and the black print frame around the edge, we basically stop it from rubbing off as easily, which to me is just a kind of a no-brainer when considering the quality of the book that I would want to own. The other thing is ribbons. This prototype doesn't have the ribbons on it, but I'm sure you've seen books that have a ribbon hanging off. I've decided that this book needs 3 ribbons, because for those of you that have played an RPG before, I'm sure you know that you keep one thumb in the rules and one thumb on the scene that they're in, and maybe you keep having to flip back to the treasure table, or you keep forgetting something else, and you kind of want to know what's going on. So yeah, it's got 3 ribbons, one of which is mechanically important for the exploration of the labyrinth, but
it's actually involved with the navigation of through the book.
Yeah, so that ribbon is specifically so that the DM can keep track of the party's progress through the labyrinth, and then there'll be a rules ribbon and a kind of toolkit ribbon, because in fact there'll be a toolkit at the back for creating your own adventures in the labyrinth. Because it really is everything. It's sort of it's an adventure, a rule set, a bestiary, like absolutely everything that you need to both run this adventure and create your own.
So who's written all of this?
Yeah, well, I guess we could talk about the author rather than the manufacturing.
Yeah, because that was the next step. We first conceived the thing, but then we went, okay, we'll write it.
So yeah, we searched high and low, and we stumbled across an author by the name of Ben Milton, who has written. He wrote a RPG system called Knave and one called Maze Rats. So he's got a lot of experience in the OSR community with role players and old school role playing, which I felt really captured the vibe of that retro feel of role playing games from the 80s. Bringing some of that flavour into a movie from the 80s. It definitely felt like it fitted. So yeah, we got Ben to write. He's written 90 scenes for the Labyrinth, and the way the adventure works is that it's broken
I can time.
You're good.
Oh, we're good.
Are
Apparently.
we good?
I will put. That's what you know when I cut out. I was talking about the 90 scenes that Ben Milton has written. He has a YouTube channel actually where he talks emphatically about role-playing games and stuff, which I believe is called Questing Beast, and he also is a bit of a fantasy cartographer, which seeing there's every labyrinth needs a map. He will also be illustrating the maps for the adventure.
And I think in the newsletter this week you can see an example of one scene with the map and the layout, obviously subject to change, of course, it's still in development, but it gives you an idea of what one scene will look like. There was a question here, will I be able to, to purchase this as well as the board game from the company's website? Yes, you can do it now, in fact, because there's a pre-order now live.
Yeah.
But yes, we always say buy from your local friendly game store. That's the best place. Hopefully in libraries as well, bookshops. Bookshops, not libraries. That's an Italian mistake. But of course, it's also available online and on our website, of course. There was some guys have got into the Matrix. Right. Okay, so you said 90 scenes written by Ben, and
so there's another 10 scenes that we've had written by guest authors from across the industry. A few of them are still top secret at the moment, but some are well and truly confirmed. The first is Jennifer Brozek, who is an award-winning author of Never Let Me Sleep and the Last Days at Sultan Academy, and many others. She's written tie-in books for Shadowrun, which is a cyberpunk fantasy RPG, and loads of other sort of cool things like that. There's Patrick Stewart.
The actor.
Not
Captain Picard.
Not Captain Picard, I'm afraid. Who wrote The Deep Carbon Observatory and many other titles. We have, you've written one and I've written one.
I was the one, yeah. The best one, clearly. We have a question. Would there be a chance to get the map printed on canvas in big so that we can have it for tables and on the wall? Are we talking about the board game, I assume? This.
I think he's talking about the maps of the Labyrinth. So the Labyrinth, because it's procedurally generated, would never be repeated in the same kind of orientation. So, it's impossible. It's non-Euclidean. It can't be mapped. But the individual rooms have each been mapped. But I think if you printed them on bits of paper or card, you could definitely lay out, a labyrinth as it goes.
Yeah, because every scene, each one of the 100 scenes has a map describing the scene, which is a room or an area, but they're not connected to each other. Every time you play, they would be connected in a different way. So, you could try to map it as you play by kind of drawing almost like a flowchart with these things. So maybe if they exist.
Even in the movie, Sarah tries to use a bit of chalk, doesn't she, to keep track of what's going on.
Yes,
doesn't pan out.
A lipstick, and it doesn't. Yes, it doesn't. That doesn't work. Basically, you cannot map the labyrinth, and therefore, because it changes. If you remember there's an opening there. Oh, there's a dead end. No, the dead end is behind you. It keeps changing. It's not fair.
But I think there are lots of creative solutions that you can come up with to sort of lay out a more tactical RPG experience for your players. So also
actually, that's a good point, because you can lay out things. Obviously, the book is an adventure, and it has a rule system in it.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're not a veteran role player, if you never played a role play, even has a very, very simple role play system that uses 2 dice, 2 simple d6s. So there's a very simple experience to get into role play if you've never done so. We had a lot of experience doing Tales of Equestria with introducing people to role play and storytelling. So that there is, don't say, "Oh, I've never played a role play game." Well, you need 2 dice, 2 pages, 6 pages, a few pages of rules, and very simple rules that you can play. However, if you are a veteran role player, and we kind of all are, then pick your favorite system. And this is a big adventure, and you can just play through using whatever system you like and you prefer. The scenes are
the scenes are they're kind of the adventure itself is system agnostic, is the term that gets thrown around, but it comes with a rule set, and so the rule set is designed in a way that if you've never DM'd before, or Goblin Kinged, which is the in-book terminology, if you've never Goblin Kinged before, and you've never played before, the rules are super simple, and also the adventure is laid out in a way that it just feels like DM notes. There's not so much there that you get overwhelmed, and it's not, it's super easy to run is the aim, and super easy to unplug from the rule kit, and just, if you want to run it in Labyrinth Lord, then just take the stats for things from Labyrinth Lord, and there you go.
Well, I remember writing the scene. For me, it was a very interesting experience because the amount of words I was allowed to use
Yes.
in a spread was very, very few. Like 200, 400 words, and you go, wow, how do I write? You have to create a scene with boiling down the information so that it's very, very bitty, very easy, accessible, and basically you don't have to read a lot for every scene. There's a good map, some very pointed information, and some charts that you need to roll the thing. So it is actually easy to digest. Very difficult to write, I found, which was actually interesting because again, is that thing from Mark Twain, I think, said, I wanted to write wanted to write you a brief letter, but I had no time, so I wrote you a long letter. Because it really taught me how much we waffle on normally, including when I speak right now.
Yeah, and if you're at a glance trying to remember, was it 3 goblins or 5? You don't want to read and reread an entire paragraph of text. You kind of want to just be able to, 3 goblins. I think that might be a good lead into the it's up. There you go. So now they can actually see the encampment scene.
Oh, cool.
Which if you want the JPEG of that, it is in our newsletter. Maybe you can try it out on your party. Just slip it into whatever adventure they're running at the moment and see if they can crack it.
So we have a few nice comments. Thank you, guys. I'm loving how free and open the system sounds. Thank you. I recently got into tabletop RPGs earlier this year, and this product is pure gold. Well, thank you very much. So yeah, cool. We are excited about it. I hope you will do it justice. Reading through the scenes, it's just pure fun. Just reading it is fun. Really.
There's some stuff in there that just really it's laugh out loud funny, which I'm not a big laugher out louder, but I'll be halfway through laying something out and I'll just spot something that sets me off.
The approval process was also very good when we sent it to Henson for approval, and they went, "Oh my god, this is great! We started playing in the office, like approved." I was like, "Yay!"
Not only approved, but there's already a party stuck in the labyrinth somewhere.
That was good.
So mechanically, there are some interesting. I didn't actually finish our list of authors. I did leave some people out. So we've got Zach Burrow, the author of several of our Tales of Equestria books. He wrote The Festival of Lights and Curse of the Statuettes, in fact, and he's working on a top secret project for the future.
It might be worth starting the guest authors from the beginning. I think that was cut.
Oh, okay. The guest author. Well, I'll start with Zach then. The other guest authors are Jennifer Brozek, the award-winning author of Never Let Me Sleep and The Last Days at Sultan Academy. And she's written many others, including tie-in novels for Shadowrun and I think Battletech. So then there is Patrick Stewart. Do you want to do your whole bit again?
Oh, the author, Captain Picard.
Yes, not Captain Picard. In fact, the author of Deep Carbon Observatory and many, many OSR books. The guy is really prolific, and the fact that he could find time to write us a scene and it's a very poetic scene. It's very lyrical, I found. And then you and I wrote a scene, which you alluded to earlier. The chap who wrote the rules, Jack Caesar, he also wrote a scene for the adventure. And Matt Ward, who has written for Games Workshop's Lord of the Rings and Frostgrave, which is what I have here.
Yeah, and many other
novels,
etc. So yes, Matt was his next colleague of mine at Games Workshop, and he's a great writer. We have another question. With Labyrinth getting so much love, is there a chance that the Dark Crystal will also get some? Well, like we explained before, with Dark Crystal, at the moment we are kind of on a holding pattern, because of course there's this thing coming out later this year, you know, the Netflix series Age of Resistance. So we kind of want to see that before deciding where we're going, etc. So, but yeah, I mean, at the moment we have the board game out, and yeah, well, we won't reveal anything else.
I've already been told to stop asking if I can make a Dark Crystal RPG, so I'm glad if you guys do as well. You know, just keep badgering him.
I suppose I should also say it depends on the success of this product before we decide to make a similar product.
Yeah. But no, I'm chomping at the bit to do a Dark Crystal RPG as well.
Would you ever consider in the future incorporating new technology in your games? For example, utilize Alexa to set atmosphere utilizing background music, sounds, or even narration. It's funny you say, but yes, we are actually looking into similar stuff. Nothing more to say here. But of course, in the case of Labyrinth, what helps is a nice playing the movie in the background and listening to the songs.
Hey Alexa, play David Bowie. That'll do.
Hey Alexa, dance magic dance.
Yeah.
Okay, that is questions. Yeah. Oh, more nice words. I can't wait for this. After the new Dark Crystal comic series, an RPG would be beautiful, as the world's been extended so much. Oh yeah, no, Dark Crystal certainly has a lot of scope, a lot of depth. There is a lot in that in one thread that we could absolutely, and it makes a perfect RPG as well. And of course, we might already have talked about this, but anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yes, Labyrinth, the role-play game.
Interestingly, when you mentioned lore, the Labyrinth, the role-playing game, we were told we were allowed to incorporate everything from Brian Froud's Goblins of the Labyrinth, which is this really interesting art book about. It's written by Terry Jones, and Brian Froud did all the illustration and stuff. And it's got all these. It takes all of Brian Froud's illustrations, and Terry Jones kind of puts these wacky goblin cultural quirks and things into the pictures, which Ben, said he had great fun taking those things and sort of being like, oh, that's how Goblin Society works. Okay, let's put that in a scene. And they play a game called Lunchball. Lunchball is a game that goblins play where they have a huge ball of hardened wood, and the first person to eat the entire ball of hardened wood wins the game. Other than that, it's like rugby, so they tackle it off each other, gnawing at this ball of wood. So yeah, there's a lunchball scene in the adventure if you want to play a game of lunchball.
I see a game coming. Board game, lunchball, the game.
We'll just sell balls of hardened wood.
About the Red Book. Yeah, no, I have to say, when I was a kid and watched Labyrinth, a teenager, and that scene when she starts reading the book and being able to make that book for me is very important and cool. Ooh, when can we pre-order UK? You can now. The pre-order has been. It should be live now.
It was an hour ago. Yeah.
An hour ago. So if you get the newsletter, check out the link will be on the newsletter. Otherwise, go have a look in our website, and it should be there in the web store.
Riverhorsegames.com.
Voice of the riverhorsegames.com.
Goblin King.
There's a. Ooh, do you think it's me? Players? Lunchball would be great to get players doing. I see. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Remember, don't try this at home.
Yes.
You don't want to be sued by people that destroy their teeth on hardwood.
Goblins only.
Yes, only if you're a goblin. Okay, so I think, is there anything else we need to add? We want to add?
Components-wise, I did remember that I left out the fourth bookmark.
Oh yeah?
Yes. Which there's back to having everything that you need to play game in the book. I wanted the Goblin King, as it were, to have a cheat sheet, so that it will come with a beautiful little bookmark, like a card bookmark, which was illustrated by Ralph Horsley, who's drawn an amazing picture of the Goblin King with some with his crystal balls, and underneath, on both the front and the back, it has a basic breakdown of the rules. Sort of what is difficulty check, how do you explore, think that might be the rules.
Yeah, the
That's a
information,
game.
the core information. Ralph Horsley, we should get Ralph Horsley to do some more Labyrinth.
Some kind of I don't know,
illustration.
labyrinth art-based game, maybe on
Well, and later, different
Who knows?
position,
Yeah,
different time.
maybe.
In a different world, in a
We'll look
different
into
time. Okay.
I think that's me done ranting about the high-quality book manufacturing.
So yes, I mean, as far as questions, I think we answered all your questions. I think maybe it's time to come to a close. I hope you are excited about this as we are. I'm suddenly really, I can't wait to hold it in my hands and go, I made this!
I can't wait to put it on my shelf.
Smell that new book smell.
Yeah.
It's arrived, it's real.
Throw my first double ones.
Oh, yes, yeah, you want to know, we're aiming to get it here for Christmas, of course, and should be. I mean, obviously there's always approval process and stuff. We're not 100% in control, of course, because there's approvals and stuff, but everything going well, should be,
Ahead of schedule at the moment.
it should be here for Christmas. So, fingers crossed.
Cool.
Cool, thank you very much, and we'll close the connection here. Bye.